So, welcome back to Toward a Better Us. Today we have Crystal and Brian. They're the Instagrammers of
VipKid Dream.
Yeah, if you could do a little introduction, like your names and where are you from and where are you traveling?
Yes.
Sure. You want to start?
Sure. I'm Crystal, originally from Pennsylvania in the United States, but then I've been in Colorado since 2010. I've also lived in England, Iceland, and now I live in Scotland.
And my name is Brian. I'm from the United States, specifically from the state of Colorado. And I actually have not traveled that much prior to this year. Only this year have I moved out to Glasgow with Crystal, and I've been visiting throughout Europe throughout this year. So I've been to Norway, Poland, Scotland, UK. So it's still kind of a new experience for me, but I'm loving it.
So it's been very cold for you since,
Right.
well, you're from Colorado, so I guess it's okay.
Yeah, the weather in Colorado is basically you wait 5 minutes if you don't like it and you'll have a different season. So it's very unpredictable and kind of unstable, but here I find it's consistently cold. So there's
And
never, cold and rainy. So you don't really ever get that break from like the cold that you get in Colorado. So I'm used to it, but it's tough after a little while.
Wow. So how long have you two been together?
Well, officially about a year,
Yeah.
but we've known each other for 4 years.
Yeah.
You met in college?
Yeah.
Yes. We met at the University of Colorado. It's kind of funny because it was a French class, like not French speaking, a French
class,
theater.
yeah.
And
Random elective.
both of us were very close to not taking that class. Like I was almost in a different class. So it's just crazy kind of how it all worked out. But yeah, met in Colorado.
It just worked out. So
Yeah.
cool. Okay, so what would be 1 or 2 words that you would use to describe traveling with each other or living abroad?
Adventurous, of course, and unpredictable. We've been to some different places, and it's always an interesting experience no matter where we go. We were most recently in Italy, and we were visiting with my brother and his fiance and her parents, and they ended up hiring one of the workers at the hotel to take us on a day trip and took us to a restaurant where they only spoke Italian. We were there for like 4 hours. They just kept bringing different Italian foods and different bottles of wine. It never ended, but it was fun to get the authentic experience talking to people from actually in Italy when we don't speak Italian. And we were in Brussels for about 15 hours on a layover at one point. So it's always an adventure. You never quite know what exactly we'll be doing, but it's been a lot of fun. And that was way more than 2 words.
That's perfect. It's the
Like,
more
the word-
behind it, the better.
I'll keep it shorter then. The words I was thinking was exciting. I guess maybe specifically for me, just everything is so new to me. It's like a brand new world. Like I hadn't even seen the ocean until I think this time last year. I still hadn't even seen any ocean. I was just landlocked in Colorado. So everything is so new. So I would say exciting. And then just like discovering what all is out there that I have not yet seen, and like how I was so, I guess, secluded before, and like how kind of eye-opening. So those will be my words.
That's awesome.
A lot shorter. Good. How did you decide to travel together?
Well, it was basically pretty fast. We were having the whole define the relationship conversation, but I had already signed up to go to grad school in Scotland. He's like, so what happens when you go to Scotland? And I just said, well, do you want to move with me? And we said, okay.
And here I am.
That's very simple.
Yeah, I mean, it was like the process was a little bit, obviously it was there's more than that. Like it was kind of scary. Like I'd not really even lived outside of the state of Colorado.
I don't think you even had a passport at that point.
I didn't even have a passport. Yeah, we broke in my passport by going across
to Canada.
to Canada, yeah.
Like Niagara Falls.
And I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. I can do this. I'm loving it. And then when I went overseas, it was like a totally different world. So Yeah, there's been a lot. I'm taking in something new every single day, but I really enjoy it. And yeah, it was like kind of a scary commitment, but
Yeah.
I'm loving it. So it
Well,
was
how did
great.
you feel at first? So when you got to Glasgow and
It's hard to even put into words. Like, it suddenly kind of clicked with like, whenever like in the state of Colorado, like a lot of times there's a high population of like immigrants from like Mexico, and like I'd work with them, some of them at the job that I would be at, and like it just made me realize how courageous they really are, because I'm going to a country where they speak the same language, and it's very different for me, but they were going to a country where they don't even speak the first language. So like it just opens my eye to what, like, how they were able to just sort of adapt to everything, and that like I kind of see them like in a different way, that now that I'm experiencing it firsthand, because I never really could put myself exactly in their shoes, and I still can't, but I guess eye-opening is like, wow, just everything is so different.
I don't think we've met anybody that's been that much of a travel virgin.
Yeah, like up to this point in my life, like I feel a lot more experienced now that we've been, however, 5 months in. But definitely there was some growth involved.
Do you have a set kind of plan for how much longer you're planning to be on the road for?
Yeah, we're planning
Yeah.
ideally maybe a few more years, like do a working holiday visa in Ireland next, where we could both keep teaching VipKid, maybe work a little bit in Ireland as well. And then Australia and New Zealand also offer that, which I haven't been to that part of the world yet. Also haven't been to Asia, so it'd be kind of cool to spend a few months in Asia on the way there. So I'd like to stay abroad a while longer, but we'll see how it pans out.
oh, so you're both VipKid teachers, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
How long have you been teaching?
I've been teaching for VipKid since last October. I've done some tutoring as well. I still do that for a company called Cambly, which is more for adults who are learning English. And then I switched over to doing VipKid too. I really like both companies. They're quite a bit different, but VipKid is my primary one.
Yeah, and kind of the same with me. I've been teaching Cambly since sort of the beginning of the year in January, and I was like, that was all I had at the time. And then in February, I was hired on with VipKid, and that was right around the time of Chinese New Year. So I wasn't getting any bookings because everyone was doing their Chinese New Year celebrations. So I was kind of like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make this work. But then it definitely picked up. So I would say officially I started in February, but I really got the ball rolling in March. And yeah, I would say that Cambly, the same company that Crystal worked for, really prepared me to work for VipKid. And yeah, it's a lot more comfortable now. I feel a lot better about it.
I'm in the same way. I mean, for me, I never wanted to actually teach anything ever. Wanted to stay away from teaching. And now I'm basically a full-time English teacher.
Yeah.
Life just has a funny way of.
I find myself telling that to Crystal a lot. Like, if you would have told me 4 years ago that I'm going to be in Glasgow, Scotland, teaching very small children in China, I'd have just been, I mean, what fantasy land are you living in? But here we are.
What's been your favorite place that you've traveled to together so far?
I would say that's a tough question. But for me, it's sort of a toss-up. I really enjoyed Norway, Oslo, Norway. It was just very beautiful. A lot of it reminded me sort of Colorado in some ways, in like the skiing and the snow mountains and just kind of everything. And it was just so beautiful and different, yet at the same time, like a brand new world to me. And then I also really enjoyed Poland. And we went from Norway to Poland. So that was just a really great trip for me. About Poland specifically, I don't know what I can tell you what it is I liked about it. It just, like, right from the start, the people were so welcoming. And even though we only spoke English, we were able to still communicate mostly. And it just, I don't know, they were very friendly, and like right away. It was a welcoming country.
And Crystal, what's been your favorite place so far?
Maybe Canada, because that was his very first time out of the country. So I got to be there when he very first saw anywhere that wasn't the United States. And we were only there for 2 days, but that was a lot of fun. And my other favorite was probably in Italy. We were just in Italy a few weeks ago. And that was quite fun as well. But it's so hard to just choose one or two.
Yeah.
Where were you in Italy?
We were just in Rome. I had been there before, but this time Brian was there and my brother and his fiance and her parents. So it was a big group of us traveling around. And the last time I'd been in Italy, I was traveling solo. So it was a totally different experience to be there with Brian and with family rather than just on my own.
I like how you can just say, just in Rome, so casually. It was just...
Yeah, we love Rome. So.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
I guess we briefly went to Tuscany too. Briefly.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to Tuscany?
Well, we did like a wine tour in Tuscany. So we spent like one afternoon in Tuscany, but the rest of the time it was in Rome.
Did you go heavy on the wine?
We had a few little samples. We didn't go crazy.
Not crazy, yeah.
So they don't remember. Must have been a good time. Now we're going to dive more into the relationship traveling part. So one thing we always, because once you're stuck with somebody, living with them, working with them, you're going to run into some friction. What's been one of your, sorry, some weird noise outside. Yeah, that should be, okay. What's been one of your biggest reasons why you would argue when you travel together?
Well, probably like time things. Like I get stressed out about like running late and I always want to be on time. And so that's probably the thing. And I get kind of stressed. That's probably.
I would agree with that. I don't know if we really argue about it, but I would say that kind of a big difference that we have is our taste in food. Like it's completely opposite of each other. Like anytime I'm like, oh, this is so delicious, she hates it, and vice versa. So I don't know if that's really led to any friction per se, but that's like quite a big difference. But I would agree with time. Like even like when we're going anywhere, like for an example, we were trying to catch a bus one day and we were like in a hurry to get there. And we were sort of cutting through the parking lot full of buses, and the officer was blowing a whistle at us. So I was just like, Crystal, we're not supposed to, I think we're supposed to just be on the sidewalk here. And she kind of was on me a little bit. She was like, well, then help me. It's like, I just want to help us both get off the street here. But just little things like that, I guess. We might find a little friction there.
But it worked out yesterday. Yesterday we were in St. Andrews, Scotland, and we had an open return train ticket to get back to Glasgow. We had to take a bus to get to the train station. And I was checking on Google Maps because I do with like 100% of the navigating.
Yeah.
And I saw there was a train coming in 3 minutes once we got to the station. But I didn't tell Brian because I figured there was a chance we'd miss it. So we got there. I'm like, okay, get ready to run. As we're running in, the train's like pulling up. We ran on, we got it. We got in the train. I'm like, there wasn't another one for an hour. So I'm glad we made that one.
So thankful that we made that because we would have been sitting. It was cold and windy. So that was perfect. Excellent execution of navigation on Crystal's part.
We didn't get stressed that time.
No, not at all. She didn't tell me.
Who's the planner in the relationship?
Probably
That's
me.
Crystal,
yeah,
for sure.
I consult him for ideas, but I've been traveling a lot. Like I first started to really travel when I was in college and studying abroad in London and exploring Europe. So I guess I just know more about like budget airlines, where to find accommodation. So I always get his approval, but he kind of just trusts that all to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and she does a fantastic job at it. I mean, we haven't run into any trouble yet, so knock on wood.
Yeah. We have some more trips coming up.
Yeah.
So I guess that's her travel strength then, you would say?
Yes, I would say excellent planner, excellent navigator, because she always gets us wherever we need to be, and we haven't missed any trains or buses or planes or anything like that. And I will step foot into a country, walk 3 paces to my right, and be totally lost. So, yeah, I'm so thankful to have her as a navigator. So yeah, I would say That's
Kristen, what would you say is one of Brian's strengths in when you travel?
I think he's pretty adaptable to everywhere. Like he adapted to living abroad really fast. When we first went to Poland, he was already speaking to the Uber driver who didn't speak any English to Polish, and he had just started studying Polish on the train there. Like learned 4 phrases, and he was able to have a conversation knowing 4 phrases of Polish. So he's able to slide into pretty much any culture, make friends pretty much instantly.
And now, what would be your weaknesses?
Each other's weaknesses that you would say.
Well, I think his weakness is probably navigating.
Yeah, definitely navigating. Is
I'll be like, oh, there's the place we're going. It's right there. And he'll be like, what? Right there? And I'm like, oh, sorry, like two houses down to the left with the green awning. Like, and maybe that's one of my weaknesses. I'm not descriptive about it.
That will bring up my
yeah.
answer. I would say maybe sometimes just a little bit clearer communication, because there are times when and maybe she says I'm not listening sometimes, but there are sometimes she'll talk about something that is brand new to me, and and she says we spoke about this 100 times, and this is the first time I'm hearing about it. But yeah, maybe just communication. I would say.
Now, so we did this travel strengths, weaknesses. Now, when you're traveling together 24/7, again, that because you're living together, right? I was assuming.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, work, and you're both VIP kids, so you're in that little space. What is something you appreciate about each other most? Like, what does one do in the traveling relationship in tight space that you're like, God, I'm glad they're around for that?
I have an answer right away. I think that Crystal is super supportive of me because all this has been so new, and just kind of like my personality. A lot of times, like if something doesn't quite go my way, I really get shaken by it and sort of rattled, and I'm like, oh, I can't do this, I can't teach, I can't get this job. And she's always there to say, no, you can do it. These are the things you're good at. Look how good you've done so far. And so she's very encouraging to me. And without that, I'd be totally lost. So I would say, I've forgotten the question, but she's very encouraging to me.
Hardworking and like supportive in a way that works well together. Like when I first came over and I was doing VipKid and I was still having classes, and he hadn't started doing VipKid yet. Like Brian was right away able to start doing the cleaning and the cooking, because I'm not very good at that, while still learning VipKid, and has helped me finish my schoolwork while still teaching, and helped me whenever I was teaching from very random locations, like the Oslo airport. I taught 2 VipKid classes, and Brian was there helping with my Wi-Fi, helping me put my little sign on the background. So definitely I think works well together.
Do you feel like being together that much overall, it has helped your relationship or hurt it? How has it changed it?
Because you went from being apart to living together, working together, breathing together,
Being abroad together.
Being abroad together too. Do you think that's helped your relationship, so much time together?
I think it has. I think just spending so much time together, you see each other at their most vulnerable state, and of course it's naturally going to happen to any human. And I think when you see that, you kind of can get to know the person. You peel back the layers of the onion, so to speak, all the way to the core, and so you kind of see who that person is to the core. And I think that in that way, it has helped our relationship.
Yeah, I agree. I think it helped. Like when we were living in the States, we weren't living together yet. And then we were apart for 3 months when I first moved to Scotland. So I was going from not being in the same country at all to being together all the time. But I think it has helped, just always having another person to make decisions with, even if it's something like as stupid as, oh, what are we making for breakfast, or what time are we going to go to the gym? Like, I'm so used to doing things on my own and that it's totally different. But it's definitely helped.
Do you have some techniques, I guess, or some tips tips that you use in your relationship to make sure you don't become tired of each other?
I think we try to have a little bit of time apart every once in a while. Like we both go to the gym, but sometimes I'll go do Zumba, he'll go on the treadmill. Sometimes I'll just meet up with a friend, or I was on the university's fencing team, so I go to fencing practice for a while. I have classes. So we try to make sure, even though it's maybe like 2 hours apart a whole week, we try to make sure that we do have a little bit of breathing space, or if we realize we're arguing about something stupid, just to acknowledge, okay, this is stupid, and then we both just like get over it a lot faster.
And then I think on top of that, I think just kind of keeping it fresh, doing interesting things. Like, for example, tonight, a common thing that comes up between us is, okay, well, what do you want to eat for dinner? And of course, we have a long list of, okay, one day we're going to try this place, we're going to try this place. And then when we can't decide, we go to the list and we can't find an answer. So we try to keep it fresh in that, like, for an example, tonight, we're going to just take a train out of the city as close as we can, because we're not going too far. But we're just going to look up whatever's the best restaurant there that we can afford, and we're going to give that a shot. So just doing new, different things together, I think, is also a pretty good tip. Just trying new things.
I guess you're a relatively new couple, like within the last year, and especially traveling within just the last few months, moving in together. What is, from your perspective, what is some of advice you would give to somebody starting off just like you, like going from nothing to we're going to travel together nonstop? What are some advice? Like, would you say go for it or don't go for it, or?
I'd say go for it, but I'd advise doing shorter trips first. Like last summer we went to Florida together and Chicago, and then went to visit my family in Pennsylvania, went up to Canada. So we were doing like a few 5-day and week-long trips first, and that was a good way to break in the long-term travel relationship and realize that we could like travel well together. So I would advise doing something shorter first, especially early on. And we were friends for a long time first, so that kind of laid the groundwork to doing something that was much longer and much more full-time. So it was very slow at first, and then all of a sudden in a different country.
And I would say just have patience. That, you know, we're all people here, and whoever you're with. I think inevitably you will do something that gets on the other person's nerves. So you just have to kind of learn that and have patience and kind of put yourself into their perspective as to why they're doing a certain thing, and just don't go crazy when something kind of drives you crazy. You know, it's easier said than done, but just understand certain things and being patient, I think, is cliche yet true. Great advice.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Crystal and Brian, thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
being on today.
Thank you very much.
Great to meet you.
Yeah, it was so nice to meet
I
you.
help other couples know that they can do it, especially because we've done interviews with people that have been doing it for a long time, and now we have about a fresh perspective. So it's nice to get best of both worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was an honor. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Guys, what are all of your social medias if people do want to reach out to you and ask you more questions?
We have Instagram as VipKid Dream. There's only one D, so VipKid goes right into Dream. And we're just starting a YouTube channel. We haven't published anything yet, but that will be the same handle. And I have a travel blog at strangerinastrangeland.co. Anything you want to add?
Just that we're currently working on trying to put out some YouTube videos. But I think that was everything you covered.
Perfect. So everybody, we
Well,
hope
thank
you
you.
enjoyed the advice. If you, like Kristen and Brian, you want to ask them more questions, go to all their social media or ask us to bring them back on so we can harass them some more. Best of luck with your travels.
Thank you.
Perfect.
You
Thank
too.
you.
Hopefully we'll meet up somewhere in the world at some point.
Yes, that
Yeah.
would be very cool.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.